Grabbing the holidays by the boughs with Duluth. Step 1. Hire a mall Santa to handle snow removal.
Ho, ho, ho! My sciatica!
Step 2. Hit Duluth Trading and load up on fire hose pants, buck naked underwear, pocket pack bibs, free swinging flannel, and all kinds of ingenious gear you won't find anywhere else. Grab the holidays by the boughs and shop Duluth Trading, online and in store.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. So Netflix is basically Santa this year. 2 NFL games on Christmas Day, streaming live. At 1 p.m. Eastern, it's Cowboys, Commanders. Then at 4:30, you've got Lions, Vikings. Midwest football, playoff stakes, and probably some snow. Watching holiday football is a tradition the whole family can enjoy. Open some gifts, grab some food, settle in, and watch NFL Live on Netflix this Christmas Day.
You don't need AI agents, which may sound weird coming from ServiceNow, the leader in AI agents. The truth is, AI agents need you. Sure, they'll process, predict, even get work done autonomously. But they don't dream, read a room, rally a team, and they certainly don't have shower thoughts, pivotal hallway chats, or big ideas. People do. And people, when given the best AI platform, they're freed up to do the fulfilling work they want to do. To see how ServiceNow puts AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com.
It's really cool.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rosbifs Rugby Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby, the top 14, Pro Day 2, the national side, Champions Cup, Challenge Cup, and most importantly, the towns, cities, bars, fans, music, and everything else in between. I think I've got that right, Richard. This is Rob doing it from the office on a Tuesday. We are making a lot of effort to get this podcast out. Don't fear, it's not just me on my own. Richard is down the other end of the line in Paddington on phone, so it's me doing the intro. Richard, how are you?
Mate, I'm good. That was an outstanding intro, far slicker than usual. As you say, I'm apologies for any aggressive Christmas travelling background noises. I'm currently awaiting a train down to Swansea, of all places, to go and join the in-laws for Christmas. So, dedicated to the cause, I hope.
Excellent stuff. I mean, it is, just to highlight, we wanted to get one out because it's pre-Christmas. We've got to do some, we've got a lot to cover, but we would do a proper one. We have kind of run out of time because I only got back from Paris late last night I got home at like 11, I think, in the end. And Rich is, as he said, currently travelling between Ipswich and Swansea, which is pretty much the breadth of the country. So, if you appreciate the fact that we have made an effort to get a podcast out, please tell your friends and subscribe and give us a 5-star review. It would be a lovely Christmas gift from you. But yes, we will do a proper in this episode. We're basically going to round up the top 14 only, talk about my kind of trip to Paris, so a bit of a match day experience in there. And then we have obviously got a Christmas quiz, which is the most exciting bit and probably what you're all tuned in for. So that does mean that next week we're going to leave Pro Day 2 for next week. We're going to do a half-time review of Pro Day 2. We're going to run through all of that salary cap and financial penalties info that's happened over the last couple of weeks, and we're obviously going to do a halfway review of the top 14 because we will be at the half stage of that as well, and maybe some bumper petty fours because I have a couple of copies of Midi Olympique to dive into over Christmas to come up with some gems. But yes, this week we have got a review of top 14 round 12 and then the Christmas quiz. Anything to add, Richard?
Yeah. No, most importantly, I want to hear how is Paris? Any new haunts? Are you now fully paid up Stade or Racing fan? Yeah, how'd it all go?
Well, Racing, I'll start with Paris generally. I'll move on to match day. I did buy a pink cap and I've been wearing it pretty much all weekend, trying to get a bit more of a fade on it. But I did decide that if you're going to buy a cap from Stade Francais, you might as well make it a pink one. like no point in getting a navy one with some pink bits. Just go in hard. But trying my best in the rain over the weekend to try and get that nice faded because it's quite garish.
Yeah, you need that sort of, is it patina they call it? That like natural fade. So it'll be like a sort of slightly duskier pink in due course, I'm sure. But they're pretty, I did see one photo. It was pretty, it's electric pink, I guess would be the phrase. It's aggressive.
There was some slightly better like colour. There was a slightly better fade, but the hat shape was weird. So I went for the best hat shape and opted for the one that was going to fade. Paris generally, we went to, we had a lovely time. Favourite new horn, I would say, is La Robe et la Mousse, which is near the other Mousse, which is the Canadian, not to be confused with the Canadian pub, which is nearby, the real Mousse. Yeah, La Robe et la Mousse is a craft beer and natural wine bar, but it's got a nice man with long hair behind the bar. He spoke very good English. He's open every day. Yeah, we had some excellent wine. We had some excellent beer. There was some big old saucissons on the bar. Very, very cool place. I've also just
That sounds bloody lovely.
Yeah. And then we went to Le Dénicheur, which was a small plates restaurant that we really wanted to go to with lots of natural wine, which it kind of lived up to the hype, but kind of didn't. We were kind of rushed through. It felt like we kind of didn't quite get to tuck into the full suite of wines. And we were also flagging from quite a heavy carbonara croissant that we had at kind of mid-afternoon. But we did have some sense.
I'm just going to stop you on that. I did see a photo of this thing. It's one of the more aggressive-looking pastry items I've ever seen. So what is it? Sort of like the kind of solid version of the sauce with bacon, some sort of comfy egg yolk. I'm assuming there's no like spaghetti knocking around or
no spaghetti. So
so
it's kind of like a twist shape, circular twist shape. So kind of like your classic Danish pastry or apricot Danish type shape, but nice and round. And then the filling was incredibly filling. It was lardons. It was basically a bechamel that was probably 90% Parmesan and egg yolk in there as well, with a good amount of black pepper. It was sensational. But we kind of had one each, and we were like, after about a bite, we were like, probably should have split this one.
Yeah, I can see that being a problem. I don't know. I'll be honest. I think maybe I shouldn't knock it till I've tried it, but I don't know if that's for me.
It was tough. It was amazing. Like the individual mouthfuls were amazing, but it was incredibly filling and incredibly salty. But there's a time and a place for that, I reckon. But we went to Le Dénicheur and had some amazing. The pick was probably like a tarama, which isn't my sort of bag, like a smoked cod's roe whipped dip, and it was blooming sensational. I didn't expect to like it at all, and loved it. But there was also like basically a satay, a peanut and burrata thing that was like the best satay you've ever had as well.
Wow.
So yeah, and then on the other table there was a Jonathan Agnew lookalike, which was a curveball in Paris. But yeah, plenty of. Also went to Hoppy Corner, nice little bar there with some good hoppy beers and good craft beers. Yeah, that's probably the highlights I'm going to go for. But we took in a good deal. Oh no, Le Cave de Passy, which was your recommendation, Richard. We basically made some friends who had a magnum of champagne, who then just proceeded to keep pouring us this magnum of champagne, and we were absolutely battered, and it was quite possibly the best champagne that I've ever had. Maybe there'll be some photos going up at some point, but yeah, phenomenal. We bought a bottle back each. We did bring quite the haul back, so yeah. Anyway,
how was talk me through, because was the Derby game, was that it was the early kickoff, right?
Was the early kickoff, yeah.
I guess you're there pretty early doors.
Well, we were staying in Passy, which was relatively near Stade Bouin, which is out. It's based. Stade Bouin is next door to the Parc des Princes, and it's really near Roland Garros as well. But it was about half an hour on the bus from Passy, so it kind of worked quite well in terms of the lunch, to having it early afternoon. We were able to kind of have a slow morning, couple of drinks, and then head over to the ground. And then actually we were able to get back to Passy for some evening drinks at like a reasonable time. So from my girlfriend's perspective, she was actually preferred that kickoff to the late one, because it kind of, you still got the evening then, albeit by the end of the evening we were pretty well cooked. But it was a near sellout. It was, I think I saw someone say it was a sellout. There was definitely a few empty seats there, but it was pretty close and a really, really good atmosphere. I cannot remember a game that I've been in where there has been so much drumming, both in terms of the number of drums throughout the stadium and the persistence of said drums throughout the stadium, because the Racing fans were going for it over in the opposite corner to us all game. And then there were about 3 or 4 drummers dotted around in the what seemed like the kind of main fans area for the Stade Francais fans, but there were a couple of nutters, a couple of like blokes that weren't watching the game, basically just kind of shouting at people, trying to gear them up. It was way more rowdy and way livelier than I perhaps anticipated.
Because it quite often gets a bit of I guess both of the teams' ground, whatever. You forget actually both those stadiums hold a pretty serious capacity, right? It's way bigger than a lot of the, I guess, I don't know, like a Cast, for instance.
Yeah, I think 20,000 is capacity.
They probably sometimes get slightly, and obviously it's a derby before Christmas, but probably get a slightly harsh rep, or certainly in the pantheon of French rugby fans. So good to hear that there's a few wild folk knocking about.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because I kind of thought it would be all very polite and no one really cared about rugby in Paris. But these guys, like, were properly angry about this game. Like, there was so much, like, shouting and booing, like, as you'd expect from, like, a Cast. But it was pretty rowdy. And you've got to remember, they are, like, the second most, these are 2 of the most historic clubs in all of French rugby in terms of age and number of, Stade Francais are the second highest French titles. Yes, okay, some of them came in the 1800s, but still there. And they've been around for a blooming long time. It was a great game, great atmosphere. I thought I was really pleasantly surprised by the atmosphere, and also the commitment to keep everything pink is quite something. Including some of the fans' get-ups, like there was pink dungarees, there was someone with a fully dyed pink Mohican, all sorts.
Sounds spot on. And the game itself looked like exactly what you want in a pre-Christmas derby, right?
Certainly like as a finish, obviously. So with Stade Francais scoring in the 83rd or 84th minute after a barrage of penalties, it kind of to tie the game, or the try was basically next to the post, and then the kick to the conversion to tie it. And that was down our end in front of like what I feel like was one of the probably the rowdier end. It was a cracking atmosphere towards the end, like absolutely pumping, kind of as you would expect for a team trying to get across the line in a big derby. The game itself was a bit of a weird one. They did kind of cancel each other out a little bit in terms of their physicality. Like the matchup between Tuisova and Nene was phenomenal in terms of just them bashing into each other and actually both stopping, well, no, maybe not both stopping each other dead, but Tuisova was a complete force to be reckoned with. But the packs were both kind of, I was surprised to see that some big old units making zero ground, because the guys stopping them were also massive units. And the scrums were pretty much dead on until they changed. So Racing took off their 2 Georgians, and the drop off for Collingar and Bamba versus Moses Alamil, I think it was the one that came off the bench, and then Melakidze, who's the guy that scores the finished try. Like, they were properly mincing them towards the end. And actually, there was a lovely try from Hulu, I think it was in the end, that scored it, but that Racing should have been penalised at the scrum before it and should never have been given the chance to score that try. But that was the kind of big difference maker at the end. I do think, and I put it out on Twitter, like, what was Makalou doing still on the bench at 65 minutes? They were trailing, or it was very, very tight. You have the X Factor man in that fixture, arguably him or Tuisova, and you've just got one of them sitting on the bench. Where I thought he was injured. I was like, is he even going to come on? It was kept so late.
Also, mate, for the 20,000 in the ground, you paid your money pretty much just to be Sekou Makalou.
I was on the verge.
My money.
I was on the verge of tweeting like, I've not come this far to not see Makalou. And there were flashes. There were flashes of all the Makalou things. He kind of forgot his hands a little bit at one point as well. But there were flashes of him just being such a physical athlete and kind of being there with my girlfriend, kind of saying, look, this is the guy. This is just a freak athlete. Like, he will do something. And you could kind of she could kind of sense that he was going to do something quite big. So, yeah, it's I think that's cost them, really. Like, they should have just got him on earlier. They should have got him on at 40 minutes, I think, because he could have changed that game and put it in there, especially how well they were going at scrum time once Melakidze came on. Yeah, And a little bit silly from Stade. I thought Hugo Sons was amazing as well. He was
I was going
basically
to
a
ask,
one-man
yeah,
attack.
there was a lot of talk about him in this game. Just feels like he's had a few. I mean, he's had a really good season regardless, but it feels like there have been one or two games in particular, right, where he has been a standout. I think that one against the Bordeaux game earlier in the season where they dusted them. He was fantastic in that. Yeah, was he? And it all justified in terms of the hype in this one.
100%. Like, they didn't really show that much. Like, all the attack kind of hinged on him, and actually he was kind of slightly bailing them out at times because his service from Carbonara wasn't always that fantastic, and just his kick, some of his kicking from hand was exceptional. To pin Stade Francais back, which is what they needed. They needed that in such a kind of big physical game. You need that territory, and he was just an absolute master. His kicking off the tee was a bit iffy, but he just looked like a spark. He just kind of looked like if anything was going to happen, any sort of creativity, it was going to be him. And no one else really. You had Tuisover and Hambosi getting them over the gay line. Fiku actually was all right on the wing, came off his wing quite nicely, but so they had all these physical threats, but it all stemmed through Hugo Sun.
Very nice. I'm glad to hear it.
I thought he was fantastic. And Hulu was great. So two guys that tore up Pro D2.
Had a good season, hasn't he?
Were
really
two of Racing's best players, I'd say. I think ultimately a disappointing game for Stade Francais, I think, because I think they should have. Racing were probably more deserving to win it, but Stade Francais, I think, had plenty of opportunity to win it. There was a lot of indiscipline and knock-ons and stuff.
That will sound like a pretty agreeable occasion, if nothing else.
I would say there are two bodegas at Stade Jean-Bouin, and one is open, and they're both free to get into. One is limited capacity, and one is not. And I was like, oh, well, the Bodega de Lis, which is next to the student area, that'll be pumping. And it was, but it was definitely not the main bodega. And so if you can get into the Bodega de Rose, get in there.
Is that the one that you had to pay for?
You could guarantee entry with a more expensive ticket, yeah.
Okay. Exclusive stuff. Very Parisian.
Yeah. Did you catch any of the other rugby?
I've seen a few little bits. I saw a bit of Cast nearly doing, well, being a bit unthinkable at Montpellier, were it not for a pretty iffy start. But as a Cast fan, it's a decent losing bonus point. Frustrating. So was it 78th minute? I think the scrum penalty that Montpellier then knock over, but it looks like that it feels like they're in something of a patch and still can't quite string two solid halves together as being their problem all year. But yeah, a little bit of encouragement, I guess. I caught a little bit of Bordeaux absolutely dusting
they were magnificent.
Toulon as well.
Jesus, Jalabert is just on another level at the moment.
He is in the form of his life, isn't he? It's kind of he can't be ignored any longer. I
just don't know. I don't see how you can't pick him. The guy is like, he's doing everything all of the time.
Yeah,
it's just
and he's on. I know we said it 8 million times, but he's unlocking all these guys who will be playing for France. Yeah, I think, and fair play to him as well. But I think one thing that maybe goes a little bit unnoticed, well, not unnoticed, but this idea that he's maybe the same player he was a couple of years ago when he was kind of playing for France. He's not. Like the guys, I've said it before, like the guy's tactical kicking and his attacking kicking is just on another level. And his decision making seems to be, he seems to be seeing things second and a half better than everyone else. It's awesome.
We can't not talk about the big result, which we saw coming. We both predicted it. USAP finally getting a win.
Yes.
With a pretty strong side. It was probably their strongest side for a while, or one of the strongest sides they've put out this season. Got the win relatively comfortably in the end. It was a late try for Clermont that didn't even get them a bonus point. Pretty concerning for Clermont. I know their away form
they're in
great, but
I mean, away form has been patchy. I mean, you put that against the two Champions Cup results, and I don't know, it suddenly feels like quite a promising start to the season where they're in that pack, and they still are in that sort of peloton, I guess, but it feels the momentum is very, a bit Lyon-y, I would say. The two sort of, I don't know, what do you call the area? The Rhône-Alpes, is that sort of Lyon, Clermont?
Rhône-Alpes, Auvergne, Rhône-Alpes is there. I think they are the only two clubs there in the top.
They seem to be their fortune seems to be reversing something. But yeah, awesome for Perpignan. And I do genuinely think, like, I mean, they're in a horrible patch, but I do they'll pick up more. They'll pick up more. Like you would think.
Yeah.
And I think they'll take some decent scalps, and a few sides will be happy to have played them early season. But maybe they'll get pumped next time out.
Yeah. I do think also just very quickly, the teams that rested and rotated in the Champions Cup, well, two of them were playing each other. La Rochelle got the win comfortably away at home to Bouin. That's a very, very disappointing result for Bouin, I think, because that was a full noise team and actually arguably on paper was still better than La Rochelle. Certainly capable of getting the win. I think that's an incredible performance for La Rochelle. I've not seen much of that, but also Pau, who did rest a load of players, 17 all. I was getting nervous and then checked a bit later and it was in the 40s. We got up to 53-17. Some brilliant attacking rugby, as you might expect from the youngsters, but it looked quite weak, that side, and Montauban looked quite strong on paper. And I was a little bit nervous going into it, but Pau are still top. Obviously, Toulouse then, with a slightly changed upside, thumped Lyon, the other team that has struggled in the European competitions. That was a surprising result. I'm afraid I've not seen any of it, but a couple of youngsters in there. Lucas Vignières, I'm a big fan of.
There's an amazing in this here, obviously on the losing side, but an amazing bit of skill from Ethan de Mortier. If you've seen this, who intercepts a pass from Dupont with his foot, pops it up in the air, and as it's going in touch, sort of fisters it back into play. Very cool.
There was
very
also quite
cool.
a flair try for Winocola as well.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Again, it's been a while since he did something silly. So
it did involve. I
legs.
can't remember who the 1-2 was with, but unfortunately, it did involve someone else, which is very rare for our boy Jeter. So getting a few others involved in his piss taking.
Yeah, very, very, very good of him. We will do, or I will try and do a proper preview of top 14 later on in the week of next round, because as you know, as we've probably mentioned a few times, we are short on time. Have you got time for a Christmas quiz, Richard?
I've got about 5 or 6 minutes for a speed quiz.
There is an abridged version, you'll be glad to hear.
Excellent.
How would you like to do these? Question and answer then? That's probably quicker.
Yeah, let's do that.
Question number 1. So first 5 are on top 14. Question number 1.
I'm quite nervous about this.
Some of them you should be able to get. Question number 1. Who scored Montauban's first points on their return to the top 14?
So Boswell drop goal?
No, it was Joshua Vesey.
Against Lyon?
Yep. No, against Stade Francais away in the first game.
Calling in fact checkers on this one.
First game of the season. You're thinking of the first home game.
Right.
Question number 2. Who is the top point scorer in the top 14 after round 12? Player.
Is it? I don't think it is. Is it Plummer?
Plummer is third.
I was going to go Plummer or Sagon.
It's Sagons is first. Yeah.
It is Sagon.
You're on 0 from 2, though. Question number 3. 2 teams have racked up more than 50 points in a game 3 times. Who are they? 2 teams.
Claremont.
Yeah.
Claremont and Bordeaux.
Incorrect. I'll give you half. It's Toulouse.
Yeah.
Perhaps unsurprisingly. Question number 4. Only 5 teams have received a red card this season. Who are they?
Wow. I'm trying to think of... Okay, La Rochelle, Pastor.
Yeah.
Flying kick. Tarrant. Flying headbutt. Racing. Does this include the 20-minute red?
No.
Orange?
Straight reds.
No.
Straight reds.
Where else have there been? Already said Ras. Montauban have, I think.
Yeah. Tyrone Vega.
The 8 against Cass, didn't they? And then the last 2 are going to be Stade Francais are usually good for a red.
No.
Who else are usually good for a red card? Toulouse have someone red card.
No. It was
who else?
It was USAP, Jefferson Lee Joseph, and Montpellier, Florian Verhagen, who amazingly, Montpellier have actually got the fewest cards. They've got 3 yellows and 1 red. Verhagen has one of those yellows as well, which is quite impressive.
Oh, good effort. Yeah, I don't think I saw either.
No, I don't think I saw either of them. I'll give you half for that, though. Okay, question number 5. If you did a table of top 14 fixtures in 2025 only, who would be top?
What, from the start of the...
From January to December, yeah.
It's going to be the top two now. I'm going to say, my instinct here was to lose, but given you wrote the question, I'm going to say,
It is Toulouse. I thought I'd get you on that one. Yeah, they're 86 points plus another 2 that they've been docked, so they're 88 points. Pau 79. Amazingly, Perpignan have got 26 points in 2025.
Bloody hell, wow.
Okay, what are you on here? 1 out of 5. No, yes, you are on 1 out of 5. With 2
misses.
Pro Day 2, question number 6.
Been playing the man, not the ball here.
Yeah. In a Pro Day 2 league table of just fixtures in 2025, who would be top?
That is a good one. I'm getting Valence.
Valence Romans would be joint second with Provence. It is Colomiers, who have racked up 100 points in the league in 2025. Valence and Provence got 87. Amazingly, Brive have got 83. So they actually obviously had a pretty good second half of the year. As at the halfway stage of Pro Day 2, who is the top try scorer?
Hoping for top point scorer here. I think that's Merrick.
Top try scorer.
But top try scorer. Jeez. One of the Colomiers wingers, Marta.
It is Perry Mayo from Nevers.
This is pretty gritty stuff.
Samuel Marquez was second. Okay, you'll get this one. One team is unbeaten at home but winless away. Who are they in Pro Day 2?
Sorry, say that again.
One team is unbeaten at home but winless away. Who are they?
Oh, God. Nevers.
Correct. Well done, Richard. Question number 9, Pro Day 2 number 4. One side has been both nilled and beaten aside 2-0. Who are they?
Wow. Who's been nilled? I feel like we discussed this quite recently.
It happened in back-to-back rounds.
Biarritz.
It's not. It's Dax. Dax lost 31-0 away to Agen in round 9 and then beat Carcassonne 19-0 in round 10. Final Pro Day 2 question. Only one side in Pro Day 2 has 3 red cards this season. Who is it? 3 out-and-out reds.
Wow. Is it... So my instinct here would have been Dax, but can't be 2 on the spin. Or can it? No, can't. Let's go for someone near the bottom who's been under a bit of pressure. Mont-de-Marsan.
It is Argent. Amazingly, Mont-de-Marsan have got the most yellow cards with 21, but not had a single orange or red. So they're just repeat offenders. Okay, the miscellaneous section. Jesus. You got, how many did you get in that? 1. 1. So what you want? 2 out of 10. Richard, okay, this will hopefully be, well, I don't know. Miscellaneous, question number 11. Fabien Galtier handed out first caps to how many players in 2025?
No, I have no idea. Because the tour to New Zealand, let's say 12.
18.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's wild, isn't it? Okay, and of all the players to have played for France in 2025, at the time of their appearances, name the player or players who hadn't featured in the top 14 in 2025.
As in who's been picked
without playing a top 14 game.
How many players are there? It's 1. Or how many of those?
There are 2.
Malaise.
Yeah.
One of them.
Not playing in the top 14.
Slimani.
Correct. Well done, Richard. Right, you're getting this one. He's about to go. Which player temporarily had his playing license suspended after he publicly criticised Fabien Galtier, referring to him as the biggest shit on a human level?
Oh boy, the land of those dodgy, the man from the land of dodgy pastries. Very quirky.
Excellent. Well done. Which player, question number 4 in the miscellaneous, which player opened up a branch of a Madeleine bakery that bears his name in his hometown after he discovered the original branch during a pre-season tour?
Maxime Lebon.
Well done, Richard. Final question. How many professional rugby players have appeared as a guest on the Rosbifs Rugby podcast in 2025?
Oh, what? I reckon it's got 3 this series season. Extrapolate that out. I'm going to go 10 plus 1 for luck, 11.
7.
Oh, definitely.
I really hope I've got that right, but yeah. So, Richard, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 15.
That's very much on the newspaper Christmas quizzes. It's like that's the lowest tier, isn't it? It should have been paid more attention.
I think in fairness, if you'd been given more time in a less stressful environment,
I might have got 6.
You might have got 7 or 8. Yeah, if you'd had a bit more thinking time. But that was the abridged version. That will go up on YouTube as well, and we'll try and get that out.
My promise to you now is I'm going to come out. I'm going to end of season quiz. I'll take the reins as quizmaster.
I feel like I'm getting
something equally fiendish.
I feel like I'm getting a comeuppance on the quizzes at some point. I'm going to get like 100 question quiz, and I'm going to get like 3.
That's the plan. Right, I'm going to need to go. Swansea Calls. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to one and all.
Merry Christmas.
See you next week.
Joyeux Noël.
Joyeux Noël. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Okay, so that was Richard. Hopefully now you can hear that the background noise has gone. But rather than me whittering on for ages, we will do a proper podcast as promised. But we just wanted to kind of cover off our trip, or my trip to Paris, and also the Christmas quiz. Hopefully you enjoyed the Christmas quiz. Apologies if it was quite hectic. Thank you very much for joining us this week and in 2025 at all. Thank you for supporting us. It makes us a huge difference that there are people. Actually, no, we've got another one for 2025. I don't need to do these thank yous, but thank you so much for sticking with us this week. And hopefully we've tried to repay your support by kind of getting a podcast out so that you do have something on your feed for all those long trips. If you're going to Swansea from Paddington or anywhere else over Christmas, hopefully that will perk you up, give you something to entertain you, hopefully something to laugh at. But yeah, in the meantime, enjoy Christmas. Thank you for being with us. I hope you've had a wonderful 2025. We'll be back next week with a proper podcast, debriefing the Boxing Day fixtures that don't happen on Boxing Day in the top 14, and also a whole load of stuff from the first half of the season in both the top 14 and Pro Day 2, as well as a whole load of other stuff that we are going to pick up over Christmas because we finally got a bit of time off to dive into the detail on a few things. So yeah, make sure you tell your friends, give the gift of sharing it with one of your friends. That's a gift you can give them to Christmas. Here is a podcast that is loosely interesting about something that you might be loosely interested in a couple of English blokes talking about French rugby. But until then, until next week, thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Joyeux Noël. Au revoir.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.